Epicast.
Welcome to the 50th episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. Yes, this is a special episode, not only because it's our 50th, but we have a very special guest. We have a very special athlete for this one, David Robinson, the Admiral. Yes, and that is very appropriate for this episode. Dave thought that David Robinson was Larry Johnson. He thought he was Grandmama, just to the people. I think that's a Pittsburgh thing. They don't like basketball.
No,
so.
there's no point.
We
had some fish team, though.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. We had the Pittsburgh Pisces. So
the Pittsburgh Pisces.
Yeah, it was a little bit before my time, but I'm aware of the history.
They survived only on film.
I've only seen
the Condors for real.
I've got a Condor shirt.
But you don't like
Adidas.
Basketball.
I don't. I didn't grow up. It was before my time.
This is like throwback.
I like
this.
Pittsburgh.
Is very fashionable.
Well, if you're not familiar with the podcast, the guy with the super deep voice is the other half of the hosting tandem, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are Drinking Partners. You can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on Facebook, IG, and Twitter @partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Libsyn under Drinking Partners. Please hit up epicastnetwork.com, hit the Amazon button, bookmark the page. This is how it works. Bookmark the page, go shopping on Amazon. Anything that you buy, a little bit goes back to us to help us keep this thing moving. Doesn't cost you an extra dime. So please hit that Amazon button, and if you're really balling, hit the donate button. We could use a couple extra dollars because at this point we're doing it for the love. So donate button, Amazon button, and please rate and review, man.
Come on, man.
That's how we know what we're doing. That's how we let other people know that we're doing well, and that's how we continue to do well. So please hit up at iTunes and hit up those rates and reviews, and we'd appreciate that, man.
Let me tell you something. If you never rated and reviewed, this is the episode to do it. We are downtown Pittsburgh with, like I said, a very special guest. We have the mayor of Pittsburgh, Bill Peduto, in the house. Say what up to the people.
Hey, so the 50th episode with the 60th mayor.
Yeah.
There it is.
There we go. He's already dropped knowledge because I didn't know. I've been through two. That's it. It was you and the young guy. That's all I
Sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah. I was at Pitt and I was like, who's this dude that looks like he's in my calc class talking on TV all the time? But no, we are very, very grateful that you sat down with us here, man. This is going to be a really good episode. We're very excited to pick your brain about some things. I know Dave's going to say some wild things. We didn't get to brief you on that earlier. Just ignore him.
We'll let it happen as it happens.
He wore a crown.
Yes, I saw that.
You're not
it's like
in
the first thing you notice when you walk into this room.
I just didn't want to be intimidated, okay? Because I know you've won some things and you've done some things in your life, but this shows that I am king of my couch.
There you go.
What I'm saying, so
either that or he needed to replace the hair that used to be there. Tried to go Cisco on you. But no, so I guess we'll just get into some background for those idiots who are listening and don't know who the mayor is. Just how did you get into politics? Just coming up, was it something that you were always interested in?
Yep.
Or?
When was you like, man, I'm really bad at politicking, man. I'm like the baddest in all the politicking. Let me get this cracking.
Like, how does that come about?
I don't think that's happened yet.
No.
So I always had an interest. I mean, when I was a little kid, I really liked history. Mm-hmm. And I thought, boy, history's interesting, government's interesting. And everyone in my family said, yeah, but we're not a political family. There was never a yard sign in my yard. My family wasn't involved in anything. The only people who even worked in government was an uncle who was a state trooper who became the police chief of the town I grew up in, and my brother who was in the Army. So there was no connection.
Right.
So I went to school and I thought, I'd major in political science, and family thought that was a really bad idea. So I ended up in 2 different schools, 5 different majors. But what I ended up doing is every summer I needed money to go back to school. I'd work one job but then I'd work another job in government for free. I'd do an internship. I first got paid in a government job the summer of my sophomore year, and I worked at the coroner's office.
I read this story. This is a really good story. This is funny.
First day out, I got to work early. Let it be a lesson, never show up early on your first day. And I was the only person there with a driver's license, so they asked me to get in the meat truck, and somebody had been hit by a train on McKees Rocks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I just because, I mean,
I know, right.
If you get hit by a train, I feel like...
but it was all one piece. I mean, it wasn't like what you'd imagine. I just thought I was going to drive the truck. I ended up having to bag the body. So I ended up bagging the body, and I went back and I quit. And they're like, that's not what you're supposed to do. Here, backdate all these papers. And what I did for the rest of the summer, I did a lot of the administrative work. So when there was somebody that had to be brought in, and the press would call, this is before computers or even fax machines, I was the person on the other line giving the basic information. That helped me the next summer to get an internship on Capitol Hill doing deputy press secretary work, which helped me to get involved in camp. So how I got involved? Just working.
Just being human, just going through life.
Yeah.
Just body bagging and then ended up on Capitol Hill.
Every night that summer. It was a rough summer. I call it the summer of smorgasmord because I worked at the morgue in the morning and then I worked at Cafe Azure French restaurant at night.
I don't want you bringing me my food. He was toe tagged.
Was there any crossover?
Were you ever working late at the first job and then running in just with the same shoes with apron on?
Were they ever short on meat? And you was like, you know what?
Yeah, see, told you. You've been Bracy. You've now been Bracy. Congratulations.
There were two crossovers. The one was my boss came to the restaurant the one time and he barely tipped me. Tipped me like
kind of
$50 bill, like about $1 or something. I was like, "Are you serious?" So, I'm serious. It was like a very low tip. And the second, I was working 2 jobs all summer. I went on 1 date that summer, and the girl who I took out was a punk goth girl, and we went to see The Hunger, the movie, David Bowie, a vampire movie, at the old Playhouse. And so that's where the worlds collided. That was about it. So those 2 incidents. The summer of '86.
What'd you call it? The smorgasbord?
The smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
I think if you run for re-election, your slogan should be bag and tag. Pittsburgh is bag and tag. Bagging and tagging.
I don't know if you ever saw the movie Monty Python, The Holy Grail.
I love it.
Not for me. I knew they saw.
Do you remember Bring Out Your Dead?
Yeah.
So I worked with this guy from the Hill. He had never seen it. And he didn't have a license, so I'd drive the truck, and we'd drive up to Oakland to the lab, and we'd wind the windows down, and we'd drive in the coroner's van, and we're like, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!" And he was getting the biggest laugh out of it. I never had seen the movie, but yeah.
I have no idea what this movie is, and I'm jealous. Day knows everything. Every reference our guest makes, Day knows, and I'm always like, "What is that?"
It was during the plague in Europe, and there was this guy who would come with the wagon, and people would throw their dead relatives out.
Monty Python is a we'll get involved with that at some point, Ed. I'll bring you into Monty Python and the Life of Brian and the whole nine. But
I don't trust you. He didn't. I'll go Monty Python because he said it, but I don't know about the second one. He didn't mention that.
That's what Monty Python. It's another Monty Python movie.
All right. We'll let you go. Let it slide. So, I mean, you coming into politics, it's an interesting story. But you worked a plethora of different type of positions.
Yeah, I worked my way up.
One of your platforms is diversity here in Pittsburgh, and I find that to be very interesting because when I got here, and even a little bit still lingering, it wasn't the most diverse city. Let's just say it like that.
Still lingering.
Look, man, I'm trying. This is his job. I'm not just coming to insult.
No. It doesn't insult me.
Business.
You got to deal with the problem. You first got to admit it and you realize it. And people will say, "Well, why is that a problem?" Well, when you don't have a diverse community, you're going to lack bringing the best talent because people want to be with people they're similar. Why did my grandfather settle in Carnegie? Because there were Italians in Carnegie, and he wanted to be there, work the mill, and be able to be. So if you have a community that's diverse, you're going to have a much easier time drawing talent in.
Yeah.
And so it's, for those that don't understand it, it is an economic development strategy.
I mean, Mesopotamia, like when you had that whole, mix of people that were just, and you had that boom of information. And then if you look at genetically, Darwinism, when you mix genetics, like you have better results. So, I mean, the more you're segregated, whether it's in life, politics, even with, the NFL, you take people from everywhere, not just
I don't know
like
about the NFL.
You
could have
one
went
part of
NBA
the
with
country.
that.
Yeah, one part of a country or one school or whatever. I mean, you
Yeah.
mix everything else. So the more mixture you have in life, I mean, variety is the spice of life. Yeah. So, it makes everything, it makes it
See,
pop.
you're talking about two different things. So you got to watch Day. There's always a double meaning with that. You're talking about diversity. Day's talking about women. I know Day. What is the mwah? What was that? That had nothing. You've never seen a mayor go mwah. He's never done that.
The realization that Pittsburgh has a majority female population.
Ooh,
That makes me very happy. I've never heard that.
If you are out in Cali, because we got some Cali listeners, we even got some French listeners. If y'all listening, we are majority female out here. So, come to Pittsburgh, But yeah, so how do you tackle that issue of diversity or try to attract more, more of that into the city?
I mean, you start by leading by example.
There it is.
So I am now black.
No. Which is no. Raven Simone says she's dark white. So I mean, you can just be anything now. I guess
I mean, honestly, what you do is you open the process for hiring up. You don't make it these people on the campaign and this contributor get the key jobs. And we did that. And what we found is people from all over the country, and somebody from Abu Dhabi even applied for the positions from around the world. Wow. Over 1,000 people. We hired the most talented people, and in the process created the most diverse administration in city government history.
Nice.
When we wanted to fill our Urban Redevelopment Authority, Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority, Pittsburgh Parking Authority, the Housing Authority, all the major boards, we opened it up and asked people, if you want to be a part of it, let us know, instead of giving it again out as like political favors.
Yeah. We
now have over half of the people in the board positions are women, so it exceeds what the population of the city is. It's over 30% African American. It exceeds what the percentage is within the city. But the most important thing, over 90% of the people were never asked to be on a board before. So when you really want to change government, you can do it that way too. So then we put that same challenge out, whether it's to the corporate community, whether it's to labor, start to be the change you want to see. And if you start to see it that way, what you're going to find are people will start to choose to come and live here. And then we created something called Welcoming Pittsburgh. So we put out a welcoming mat to the world. Okay. And we're working now. We just had our first downtown tour. We do all these downtown tours. Yeah. And people get to see the buildings, learn everything. The first time that it was in Bhutanese for the new immigrants, the refugees who are coming from Bhutan and Nepal. And they're living in Carrick and out in off Brownsville Road into Brentwood, and the population is growing very quickly. But it's kind of nice when grandma can actually learn about the building without having to be translated in their own language.
So you said they're over in Brentwood, so Brentwood is going to be like the new little Botan.
There's already restaurants opening, grocery stores. The population from Bhutan and Nepal has been settling in Carrick now for several years. We've got a big Latino community that's been moving into Beachview.
Cafe Con Leche.
Cafe Con Leche. Yeah, shout out to Tara.
We have a population that has moved here from Ghana, from Nigeria, that is even from the Sudan, that have been moving into Lawrenceville. And where are they coming from or how they're getting here? Catholic Charities, Jewish Family and Child Services, the Islamic Center, all these faith-based institutions every year bring 500 refugees to Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
And what our goal is to double it and to bring 1,000 and start bringing them from Libya and Syria.
Refugees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my grandfather was a refugee. So, I mean, it's like, I don't think it's fair to call him a refugee, but he left Italy because he was hungry.
Yeah. And, he was escaping.
Refugee-ish.
Yeah, true.
It's refugee-ish. It's refugee-like.
He still was escaping death in some form. Right?
But he wanted a better life. So, yeah, I mean, it's, that's the history of this country. We sometimes forget it. I'll show you a picture later on of a mayor. His name was Joe Barker. He got elected in 1850. And Joe Barker was a minister who preached on the streets of Pittsburgh, and he preached hate. He was arrested for threatening to kill the bishop because he didn't want these immigrants, these Catholics coming to the city of Pittsburgh. They were Irish and German, and he didn't want them here. And so while he was in prison, his buddies said, hey, you know who'd make a great mayor? Joe. So they put him on a write-in ballot. In the name of the political party, the only person ever elected to this political party in Pittsburgh history, was called the Anti-Catholic Party. I mean, they weren't too subtle. So he won. We got a write-in vote. They busted him out of jail. They take him down to 4th Avenue where City Hall is, and they put him in, and the judge goes, all right, not so fast. Number one, you got to go back to jail. And number two,
that's important.
Your term doesn't start till January. So he starts his term. He fires every police officer and hires his friends to be the police, which starts like a civil war.
Wow.
He imprisons the bishop on an illegal sewer tap-in at Mercy Hospital. And while the bishop's in prison, the Catholic cathedral right down here on Grant Street burns to the ground. But they never find out who did it. So our history, and now we have a majority Catholics in the city, and we still have people who said we don't want to bring people. We got to remember the history.
Yeah. People are quick to forget. I just want to touch on another a point that you had made. So if I really want to get my homies out of jail, I just got to make them a mayor.
I knew
and
we about to be
bust them out.
Like that's just it. Like if you really want to free Boosie, elect him to office.
Write him in. Write him in on the ballot.
Write in ballot. A lot of legwork to win that election.
Grassroots movement.
And then pitchforks and torches.
Instead of that free Bootsy tea, get him a Hope tea with his get him a Hope tea.
Get him a campaign manager.
Right. Forget the lawyer. Right. Somebody who's really good at direct mail, micro-targeting messages. Yeah.
That's super dope.
So with the welcoming or the Welcome Pittsburgh, have you seen the retention of talent from the two major universities, Carnegie Mellon and Pitt, University of Pitt? Have you seen like talent be retained more often? Because when I was at Pitt,
and IUP.
No. No offense to IUP, but we're talking about Carnegie Mellon and Pitt right now. We'll talk about IUP a little later, Dave.
And the other heavy hitter, IUP.
But no, because like the game plan when I was at Pitt was everyone's like 4 years and you're gone.
Yeah.
4 years and get out of here as quickly as possible. But I've noticed that people are starting to stay. People are starting to get more involved. People are starting to invest in Pittsburgh.
So two things. Number one, they're not only staying, they're moving here. And they're moving here from places like Indiana County and from Westmoreland County and from Fayette County and from Beaver County. They want to be in the city. They want to be young people. But they're also moving here from other parts of the country to work at places like Dick's and like
I want
American
to pause
Eagle.
the mayor so bad.
What's that?
I was about to pause you, and it's not your fault. It's just a reflex. Don't even worry about it. If I say pause, just keep going. It's no offense to you.
Yeah, pause. It's whenever you say something that's pausable, like people come to work at Dick's. It's see, there it is.
I'm immature. Don't worry about it, but it's going to continue to happen until you kick us out. It's going to keep happening.
I know, but there's corporate headquarters that are like drawing people in design
what
and
you
sales
meant,
and marketing and computer systems and all these other things you really don't think of as really being draws, but they really are draws into this region for young people to work at. ModCloth, Amazon, Google, Intel, Microsoft,
Google
Disney,
right outside
Uber,
East Liberty.
Tata, Bosch. I mean, all these companies from around the world are looking at Pittsburgh as a global innovation center, and it's real. I mean, it's not. There are certain cities in the world that aren't Istanbuls, Tokyos, and New Yorks that are the Eindhovens, and Copenhagens, and Pittsburghs that are the draws and have research-based development around it. So I got into an argument. Some shop owner a few years ago, and he's complaining. He's talking about these women in their headscarves, and they come in the store and they don't buy anything, and I'm turning purple, and I'm like, so you know what you call them? And he's there like, the headscarf, the women with those. I said, do you know what you call them? And he goes, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? What do you call them? I said, doctor. It's the folks who are coming in through Carnegie Mellon, Pitt, in our hospitals. That's the Ellis Island of PhDs, MDs, engineers. So we're getting all this really high talent. We have the most highly educated, highest paid Pan-Asian community between Turkey and Korea, Pan-Asia, in the United States. But what we don't have are their cousins and their brothers and their sisters and the others. And once they start bringing them over, and once we start to have a better visa program to keep some of these CMU kids, watch out, because that global structure is going to change pretty quickly, and it's going to be a very, very interesting place.
Man, I can't wait till it's a place where like black dudes can date Asian chicks. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Not a place that
what
it
I
is
tell
right
you
now.
earlier, it's always going to circle back to women. You can't trust me.
I'm just telling you right now, that is called East Shady Side in all of East Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
South Highland Avenue on all throughout East Liberty.
You don't have a doctorate.
It's where
Dave.
the kids from Carnegie Mellon are meeting the brothers from East Liberty.
Oh,
and
yes,
from,
right.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh,
It's already happening.
You got to have a doctorate day, and that
is that
crown
what it
ain't going
is?
to do it. They're
Nah.
not falling for the crown business. They need a solid hairline and a doctorate.
Can I get a reference from the mayor? Can you sign my terrible towel? Maybe that'll get me in. Like,
Just go have a reference. Yo, is that possible to carry like a reference from the mayor on like resume paper in my wallet, and it just gets me like I could get in the bars on the south side? Like, hold on. I'm safe. This has the official seal of Pittsburgh.
we don't accept Timbs and hoodies. Whoa. Check this.
I was going to do a Casablanca reference, but it probably wouldn't fly.
So if Pitt and CMU are the
papers work.
Ellis Island of Pittsburgh, then IUP, what are you, Rikers? Is that what that is? There you go.
How's you ripping on IUP?
Because they went there.
Yeah, we went there.
And he came wearing the colors.
Yeah, he is.
I did wear the color.
Yeah.
that
He
is.
didn't even know. He's got a Braille tie on, and he didn't even know he had the IUP colors.
Yeah, IUP in the building. But moving forward, you toured with the Dead? Is that a thing? Is it like you followed the Dead?
So I told you I had 2 different universities, 5 different majors. The 80s were a very interesting time for me.
Because speaking of IUP, my roommate was a Deadhead, and I mean, I could not stand that band the entire because it was just because Deadheads just they don't give up.
Right.
Like they don't switch the records. They don't like I also like other people and play them. It's just Dead the whole time. And there's so much material with the Dead that like they can nonstop do it. And it wasn't until about like a decade later that I was able to come back and understand and appreciate the talent that is the Dead, in moderation, you know what I mean? So I do appreciate it. I appreciate the culture surrounding it as well. So, and, when I heard that you were a fan, I just needed to touch on that.
I started out at Carnegie Mellon. I was an Army ROTC cadet, and I was the highest ranking cadet within Pitt, CMU, Duquesne, the campuses.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Ranger cadet. I taught rappelling.
Mm-hmm.
You
got to get all those credentials out so that so you can cover.
But you got to go through the whole 80s with me, and then I end up at Penn State. And anytime the Grateful Dead was around 100 miles around, I was they were following me around. Little part of the country.
I can definitely with that letter, I can get in any bar on the south side. I really need that now. Like now that I know your background, I definitely need that letter. Like I'll draft it. I'll go get the resume paper. I just need the seal and your signature. Doesn't even have to be your real signature. It could be that little joint you print out. Yeah, the little stamp dip. That'll work.
Just need a selfie with "Let me in," like with a piece of paper that says "Let me in." Like
some of those Southside
cool.
bar owners aren't happy with me, so it might not actually work too well.
Why is that? Because I wanted to touch on this. So you have like, I don't want to say a youthful type of outlook, but you're very socially aware. Like you utilize the social media.
You can say I have a youthful.
Well, I don't like you're young, but you're in tune with. And one of the things that people commend you on very often is you're very in tune with the pulse of the city. Like you know what's going on. You kind of use Twitter. You show up. You're on podcasts, and we're very grateful for that. And is it because?
And I watch podcasts.
Yes. Is it because we're retaining all of that young talent?
No.
Or, I mean, what do you?
It's in the DNA. I mean, it's just the way that I first off, I love the city, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like I have this all access card to every part of the city. So I can be in a Orthodox Jewish event and then the next morning in a church in the Hill. Mm-hmm. And then later that afternoon at a dinner in Carrick and then somewhere over in Chase. I'd just feel welcome wherever it is so it's like, to me, the best part about the job, right? Yeah. Number 2, I have a genuine interest in it. And number 3, I turned 50 and I don't feel it. And I'm still not married and I still like to go out and you know, all of those different things coming together, sort of.
Happy day guy.
It's a good to.
Why did you get so happy that he was single?
I know, because I heard that you were single. I didn't want to bring, but that is dope. And you're a mayor.
Yeah,
you're a single mayor. How many of those exist?
I was going to say, does it seem like do you think like moving forward, this will be how politicians kind of move about, kind of more of a,
I hope,
more approachable, more of the people, more like, instead of being on a pedestal, I'm like you, but I work to invoke change, that type of deal. Because that's the vibe that I get.
So I can tell you that there's a bunch of mayors just like it. And there's Libby Schaaf out in Oakland, and Betsy Hodges in Minneapolis, Nan Whaley in Dayton, Ohio. And I know I'm mentioning all the women, but Lovely Warren.
But wait, Oakland has his own mayor?
Oakland, California. Yeah.
Oh, Oakland, California.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Oh my goodness!
So I was like, I swear,
you wonder why the Asians ain't fucking with you, Dave. That's why the Asians ain't messing with you. You can't ask questions like that.
There's at least 27 people that consider themselves the mayor of Oakland.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shout out to Philly Phil.
Line them all up.
Just giving speeches from in front of the
Actually, that'd be a good sitcom. Right?
We will get this grease to be the code.
So the South Side. What's going on with the South Side and the bar owners down there? What's that?
Well, I mean, most of them want to do the right thing, and we have this. You know, we want people to have fun, but we want to keep people safe. We want to keep the place clean.
Yeah.
And so,
can you have a clean South Side?
Yeah.
This is my understanding of South Side. Before my time, South Side was the place where all the the steel workers came, and they were like, we had a hard day. We came down to Carson Street, and we had our brews.
We had a good day.
And you had
it was on the way home.
Yeah, on the way. Yeah,
they built the mills here. They built their homes here, and they built the bars here.
Yeah, there was a bar there, and that's what they did. It was like from my understanding, Carson has always been the place where you forgot about your woes, and then you went home and did what you did at home or whatever.
Yep.
And it still seems to be that. And what I got was when I saw a lot of the turmoil that was going on was that there were people that owned homes around, and they were causing a little bit of a ruckus. And this is just from my understanding, causing a little bit of ruckus. And they were saying we don't like the fact that we have all of these people out here and doing this, that, and the other. And for me, it seemed slightly odd because I was like, it seems like Carson has always been the street for, not, and I understand there's a difference between, good old fashioned fun and drinking and, people, pissing on your stoop.
Right. That's where it sort of draws, that's a good place to where it draws the line.
Yeah.
And before you get to that point, there's a couple steps that can help
They
to
skips
stop
them all.
that.
They skips them all.
You get it. I mean, it's not even at the point after that where people are shooting each other.
Yeah.
They're stabbing each other, hitting each other with a rolled up sock of quarters. I mean, which has happened too. So the idea is, how do you let all that happen, understand that it is a nighttime economy, which is really fueling that area, but at the same time, have some common sense control. You look at different areas around the country, you go down to New Orleans, and they have a good control over it. They have officers that are in certain areas. They have, at the end of every day, the street cleaners come in, they clean it, the garbage is picked up, everything's back, and it's all set up for the next day to do business. But it's a partnership with the actual bar owners that makes it happen. It isn't just city government comes in to do it.
Okay.
So that's what we want to see. We want to see a good, vibrant, nighttime economy occurring there, but also that there's the peace in the neighborhood that's not there right now. One of the little things that helps to improve it, if you go down Carson Street right now and you look at all the telephone poles, they're old, rusted out trolley poles. they've got lights jammed in them that should be on a highway, and there isn't a tree. Now, if you were to take all those out, put in decorative lighting, fix the sidewalks, put trees in, people would be less inclined to tag it, to put stickers on everything, because it would look nicer. So we have a responsibility.
Yeah, that whole broken window, thing.
Exactly.
And whatnot,
See, they taught him up at IUP.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
He had to bounce back from the Oakland comment. Once he got to do a lot more broken window references.
Throwing like urban policy right back at me.
Hey, I'm just,
it's the broken window theory.
Yeah.
Right. If you let the broken window occur, then the next thing you're going to see is people throwing trash by it. And once there's a broken window and trash, then you're going to see graffiti. And once you start to see the broken window, the trash, the graffiti, then you're going to start to see crime. If you want to stop crime from happening there, fix the broken window.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've worked in East Liberty for the past 7 years, and I'm seeing, the revolution of East Liberty. And I know people have raised a lot of concerns, and I'm sure they brought them to you as far as people who have inhabited East Liberty for a long time. What can we do to protect them, to keep them there as, property value goes up, rents increase because a lot of them aren't homeowners. What we gonna do about the jitneys that got kicked off the corner from the front of the hotel? They hurting. The jitneys is hurting, man.
Hey, I want to bring back the old the dudes that used to be on the corner selling the fake bags, the fake Gucci bags.
You can't do that now. They got a hotel over there. They got a hotel on Highland. You can't sell a fake bag.
You can't sell fake Gucci's as part of the hotel.
It's just, I'm sure they're still around. You just haven't found them yet.
I got to.
Now they meeting in CVS parking lot. So nobody want to go to the CVS parking lot and buy a Coach.
Yeah.
So but what can we do? I mean, because I see a lot of revitalization in the city.
That's all. You got to cross Hamilton Avenue, and you'll be able to find all. It's just you hit the point. You said it. It's rent. So if you make a chart and you go like this, and you do rich, poor, own, rent, and you think rich and own, what happens when the prices go up in the neighborhood? They get richer.
Yeah.
They're going to stay in their house, and when they sell it, they're going to get more money. When you rent, what happens in areas like that? You move. You go from Shadyside to Friendship to Lawrenceville. And new neighborhoods come up because they want to be in the next place. What happens when you have poor and you own? You basically have to find ways to make the impacts minimal. So you change the property tax structure for people that have been there a while. You think of the old mine or the old mill workers in the South Side and in Lawrenceville and in Bloomfield. And when those places went up, we changed the property tax structure. And then when they decided they wanted to move, they got a check bigger than they ever thought they would for that house, and probably bigger than their pension. It's like winning the lottery. But what happens when you're poor and you rent? You get displaced. You get moved out. You have no voice. You have no opportunity. And that's where you either believe that government has a role to be able to allow people who raise their families in a neighborhood, who were there through the bad times, to be able to be there during the good times, or you believe it's a free market and tough, they have to be thrown out. I happen to believe that government has a role in it, and what we can do to help them is to create an incentive program to create affordable housing with the market housing that goes into a neighborhood like East Liberty, soon Larimer, soon Garfield, soon Homewood, as those neighborhoods start to come back and the prices start to go up. So we've created an area that goes into Shadyside and East Liberty where all the new development, the new wealth that's coming in, we're taking part of the taxes and we're putting into account strictly for rent abatement and affordable housing options for people who live in East Liberty.
Okay.
And the first people that we're doing it with are the folks at Penn Plaza.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know they gave them, a year or a year and a half before they have to...
First phase
one building or something?
in March, yep. But then several of them are moving over into the other building. And the other ones, there has been a placement consultant, a private company that is helping them to find places within East Liberty. And the developer is responsible to pay all the moving costs and to help them to be able to find the next place.
Stick it to the man.
You're talking to the man, bro.
Yeah, but
no, the developer who bought the building, who is now moving the people out, now has to assist with the cost. That's what I understand. That doesn't normally happen.
No, because he has every legal right to throw everyone out. When you own a property, you can just say, you know what, I'm going to sell the property, I'm going to redevelop the property, I'm going to tear down the property, and you can't go to court and say, hey, no, This is my home. I mean, so we had to do negotiations for 2 months to try to figure out a way to keep people there. And I know some of the neighbors over in Friendship are upset because there's a parklet there, and they're like, oh, you're selling out the parklet. But our goal is to keep the parklet and provide an access road that would come on the side that right now is like a gully. It's not even used. And then get the developer, there's razor wire around that parklet. I mean, it really has barbed wire. Take that down, put in all new decorative fencing, upgrade the parklet, bring in more swings and more things for kids, and keep 200 people in East Liberty.
Yeah.
And what we're giving up is a roadway, not the parklet. And I think that there's been probably bad communication on our part in getting the message out, but I also think that there's some people who are using that as a way to say they're trying to get rid of the whole park. Because I get emails all the time, and I can't even write back anymore. I get so upset. I'm just like, send it to staff. Please respond.
All right, a couple of hot topics before we get out of here. I know you got some things you got to do. We had some people who wrote in and had some concerns. Really quickly, all over the country, there's been there's been some social unrest between the relations between African Americans and the police force. Obviously, here in Pittsburgh, we've had incidents here. What do you think can be done to kind of, I don't know how to phrase it, but to kind of get that relationship to be, because between African Americans and police, because for me, African Americans, we have this stigma where we don't want to talk to the police. We don't want to deal with them. We don't want to have family members who are cops.
Right. They around.
And I think a lot of it stems from a lot of the policemen who patrol the areas where we live predominantly aren't from that area. So you'll have a bunch of people in East Liberty that are patrolling East Liberty, but they're not from East Liberty, so they don't understand the people. And then all of a sudden there's this miscommunication, or there's, he feels disrespected, so he's going to do that, or we feel disrespected and we're going to do blah, blah, blah. How do you think we can kind of bridge that gap and get that relationship to be amicable or, productive? I mean, obviously productive in the future, but at least amicable to the degree now.
It's going to be tough to do it now. It's going to take years. I mean, it took years to get this. It's going to take years to get it back. One of the things is we now have our officers working with community organizations. So they're not driving by in a car as events are happening. They're sitting in the meeting in the church basement and participating in a way that really has them a part of the community. They may not sleep there at night, but they know exactly what's going on. We encourage the officers to get involved, and many of them do, with youth sports leagues and to be able to coach. We're bringing back the police league, which will have police competing against kids in different neighborhoods and athletics. That's huge. They had that back home. We started this year with Pittsburgh Public Schools to create a public safety academy at Westinghouse. And what that means is kids will start in sophomore year to be trained to become EMTs, firefighters, and police officers. So it's not, have we met this number of African-American candidates, female candidates, but we'll actually have kids from Belts over the Hill and Homewood that are going to be on a track to become police officers, partnering with the Pittsburgh Promise, getting 60 credits at Allegheny College or CCAC to be able to then take the test at 20. And the EMT candidates will have their trained EMT certification by the time they get their diploma. They'll be getting both. Wow. So yeah, we're working to it's just good old-fashioned communication. And until that trust is built, and it's a two-way street to get it built, we're going to have homicide rates that are high because there's very few people who can pull a trigger. And the people that do, when the community doesn't give the information, then the officers have a hard time getting them. They're probably going to do it again. And when we have that unsolved homicide rate, you also see we have a higher homicide rate as well. So we've got to build that. It's absolutely critical. And it just takes some legwork. We got some new commanders now and a new chief that fully get it, and they're implementing.
You have to get that last dude out of here.
Does police accountability come into play at all?
Yeah, and so the first thing we did with trying to create a system where people could be feeling a little bit more trust is we have an Office of Municipal Investigation that looks into all of these incidents. For decades, it was part of public safety. So we took it out of public safety and we put it under law. And so it's no longer cops judging cops. It's now being done by the law department. Okay. We hired the head of the Citizens Police Review Board Deborah Walker and made her the head of the Office of Municipal Investigation. She also has over 20 years experience as a University of Pittsburgh police officer, so she understands both sides of the issue pretty well. And then we hired a really tough former federal prosecutor in Miami who went after the cocaine cartels in the 1980s and put her in charge of the law department. So we have this
real Narcos?
She was one of the people who was working under Janet Reno in the 80s and going Miami Vice type stuff. So it's a very strong independent, led by two women.
Women, man.
Yeah, and
we love them.
But what we've done is created independence. So the investigations still continue. There's still going to be incidents. Whenever you have 900 people who have guns as a part of their job, incidents will occur. What you don't want to see is where the escalation of force was unwarranted. And you want to be able to say when it is, that's not accepted. Once that happens and it's not done in a system that you think you can get away with, and you have strong independent people to be able to make that call, you'll start to see less of it.
Nice.
Yeah. They had a question from our friends at Pittsburgh Normal.
Pittsburgh Normal.
They're still getting in trouble for logos?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're in the middle. They're in the midst of the fight, you know. Shout out to Normal.
Well, I saw the NFL shut them down, so they went to the NHL route. Which I don't know if
did they now?
Well, that logo's been around for a while because my friend has that shirt or whatever, but they went to the default and they're still looking for a new one. But shout out to Normal, you know, and they've been on the podcast as well. So, you know, the Nightingales.
Such a cool name.
It is. So if City Council introduces a decriminalization ordinance along the lines of the Philly ordinance, will you sign it?
Yeah, I would do it if we went through a full public process. I don't want this to be 5 votes. Let's see if we can get it, like so many initiatives try to get done. I think there needs to be a community process behind it and showing where the support of it is. Otherwise, it's not going to be something that's going to be viewed as a favorable change within the city. And I think there's a willingness actually to do it as well. I don't think we've issued a citation since I've become mayor for marijuana.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. And even Philadelphia and others have a limit of what you can carry before it is a criminalized fact. And I think that's really where the question is. I'm a strong proponent of legalizing medicinal marijuana. And I think it's a sin that there are children and others that are suffering needlessly while there is a plant that could help them. And that people have to watch their loved ones suffer through cancer treatments when there's a plant that could help them to eat and get better. But people are saying you can't give them that plant. Meanwhile, pharmaceutical drugs are destroying people. And kids are using them now as recreational, and kids all the way up to 50s. And they don't even understand that once they get to a certain milligram over 20 and the cost of the pill starts to become over $30, they're leaning then towards heroin at $8 to $10 to be able to make up for that high that they need just to come down. And we're losing. I mean, the whole war on drugs is backwards, and we're losing. And so if the people of Pittsburgh put together a strong initiative that call for the decriminalization, I think it will do a couple things. Not only will it put our focus more on violent crime where it needs to be, but it'll also give people opportunities for jobs that they might not have had because of marijuana use.
Very true.
Nice. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. A couple rapid fire questions from some folks that had written in. First. Paul Joseph wants to know, are you going to the Strip District Festival this year?
I don't know when it is.
It is January 16th.
We'll be there twice.
We'll be there twice.
Sure.
There you go. So he will be there at the Strip District Festival.
I love Strip District. I actually looked to move there when I became the mayor because I could live anywhere in the city, right?
Yeah.
And I've been living in the same area and I looked at the prices, I saw how small the places were, and I ended up getting a home equity loan and fixing my house up.
Point Breeze, because you're staying in Point Breeze, they have very spacious homes. You're no longer there?
I'm in a townhouse.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the only townhouse on my side of the street.
You're in a townhouse.
Yeah. Hey, man of the people.
There it is.
Peduto, bagging and tagging.
I just don't think that's going to work well.
Elizabeth Kievowitz wants to know, how do you feel about her tagging you in all of her Facebook posts?
At first, I would read them. I don't read them anymore.
Okay, she's not even on your
You're
radar.
irrelevant now.
No,
we just made you relevant by putting you on the
there's a certain
podcast.
point that when you do it, there's only a certain amount of time during the day. So it's kind of unfortunate because if there was something really important now, I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
if it becomes important enough, it'll happen.
Well, yeah, I get that with the social media. I mean, a man of your stature, you
it's not
probably
that.
get so much. It's
Time,
hard to filter it.
It's
like you all up in my mentions.
So it's the amount of time you got in a day. I mean, it's basically it. So I've learned how to unsubscribe from email lists in the past 2 weeks. I've been unsubscribing from everything.
Stop.
Unsubscribe.
Listen, stop tagging him, man. He's missing all the single man stuff that he's getting sent because y'all sending him all this spam.
He didn't even check his DMs. They're
He
full of
ain't even
news.
seen his DMs because y'all all in his mentions.
I'm at Twitter DMs or just
the Twitter
they're
DMs.
back
You
like
might-
2 weeks right now.
Man, if you could fight any Mr. Rogers character, who would it be?
Wow, it's the first time anyone's ever asked me that question.
Yeah, we've taken a turn. This is
Yes.
rapid fire. It can go anywhere.
King Friday's too old. That little meow meow is just going to be. They'd probably go to jail for that.
Probably scratch your eyes out.
It's great. That's possible.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. What the hell was her name?
You could say Mr. Rogers. Like,
No, you cannot say Mr. Rogers in Pittsburgh.
not in Pittsburgh. Okay, not in
Norm,
Pittsburgh.
Handyman Joe Negri. No,
No, I mean, it might have
like
been
him.
on your brain. I just wanted to open the floor to it. You
Mr.
don't have to
McFeely.
say it, but, you know.
Damn, there's got to be one of them. Who was the one? I can't remember her name. She had the red nose. And,
The red nose chick. You take it down the red nose chick?
yeah.
Well, wait, now, I don't know if you want to say that.
What was her name?
I don't even know. I was all I knew was Mr. Rogers,
No.
and he would sing a song, and
his
I'd turn to
shoes.
Fraggle Rock or something. So I don't know.
Lamb chops.
Lamb chop.
No,
that was
a-
a lamb chop, dude.
Oh, I can't remember. I'll
Word.
remember
So
before the end of the show.
We'll go with the red nose
yeah,
chick.
yeah.
All right. Death match. Bruce Willis from Die Hard, Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon. Who wins?
It's a good battle.
Yeah, it is. That's a movie.
Yeah.
If you listen to Hollywood.
Well, they're old now.
And then
Bruce Willis was doing a lot of stuff that was just, like riding in boats and
Mm.
a little bit of swimming. And so I'm going to have to go with Mel Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
And he would, and you have Van Damme, too, from when they blew up the arena.
Yeah. I mean,
forgot about him.
Yeah,
Van Damme might win.
Yeah, Van Damme might win. He wasn't. He
was
wasn't an
swinging
option,
skills.
though.
stuff.
He was a skilled fighter.
He was
They probably had stunt doubles.
He's using different weapons. Yeah, I'll have to go with
Mel Gibson had
Mel
rigs.
Gibson. Yeah.
He was running. He was doing a lot of.
Eddie was crazy. I mean, you can't take away the fact that he was absolutely
Walking
batshit
on
crazy.
glass.
Yeah. All right. That was the first question was Jesse Irvin. The last one was Ray Zawadney. And man, we got to pick the last.
Wait, we got one. No, this is very
it?
important in
All right.
Pittsburgh. Bike lanes and traffic.
Yes.
What can we do? What did the guy say? What
He
can
said,
we do?
What can we do? Okay, potential revenue from cyclists because they don't obey the laws, and we could ticket the hell out of them. So, are we doing anything to collect revenue from cyclists? That was Connor McCandless. Also,
Can we legalize the tapping of the back tire with my bumper? Not to knock him over, just to let him know I'm here and my car's bigger than your
So
bike.
here's the problem: our streets were not created to have cars, people, bikes, people with needs, and everything. They were designed in the
Horses.
1950s. Well, yeah, in the 1990s.
Chesterfield
In
and
the
Oakland.
1950s when we redid them. We did them for cars. And so now we're trying to put all this other stuff in it. It doesn't work. So we're redesigning them, repurposing them, which will make it easier for someone to bike, someone to drive a car, someone to use a bus, somebody with special needs to be able to get from one side of the street to the other. But it requires a number of years, and it requires a lot of capital. We're willing to put it in to make it happen in our most congested areas, downtown, Oakland, North Shore, and then start to connect them, East Liberty. But everything that we do new, everything that we're doing now is under the complete streets model, meaning that the streets are designed for all. So there's bump outs in different ways. They were talking to me recently about some folks that just came back from Amsterdam. And
it's a great
Pause.
place.
Listen, we
No, it's a
weren't
great
even going to
place.
make the connection.
I was already jumping on your pod.
We weren't even
What
going to
were
make
they
the
talking
connection,
about,
but
man?
it's there.
I've been to Amsterdam.
The
It's a great city.
sidewalks stay like that. So you're walking across the street, and the sidewalk, you don't walk down a curb and then walk back up. your sidewalk stays like that.
Yeah.
And then when you drive your car, it's a little bump, which means you have to slow down as you're going through the intersection. And it's made easier for people to walk across the street.
It's very integrated.
So
I mean,
imagine
the
like
bike lanes
Oakland
are on the
having
side
something
and-
like that for the, where you have tens of thousands of people who are walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got crazy numbers of people on
Sounds
bikes.
like-
So we don't design it. It becomes frustrating because it's like using a butcher knife to prune a tree. You know, it's not made. The roads aren't made for what they're being used for today. So,
But the question was, can we tax?
we tax the bike.
Can we tax the cyclists?
Can we TAX or TAP these
The
bikers?
cyclists
Just one.
that just they don't care, and I understand that the roads weren't built for that.
No,
and
I get
fully
you.
But like,
I'm not in favor of doing it. There are motorized licenses that you need to have, and those licenses are all issued by the state. Apparently, there is some state provision that would permit the city of Pittsburgh and third-class cities to have some sort of a registration. But at this point, I would rather do it through education and work through groups like Bike Pittsburgh to tell people, hey, if you're going to use your bike, be sensible. Not only will it make it easier for others who aren't on the bike, but it will make it safer for you.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be the first person trying to turn left on Murray and Ford at 5:30. Get your ass out the way. I'm sorry, that was me. That wasn't the mayor. That was Ed Bailey saying that. I'm saying that to you loud and clear. All right, one last question. This is very personal. Would you be opposed to us calling you Willie P? I think there's a lot of swag in that name.
Yeah. I think it would resonate with the black community.
I think I'm saying if you're gonna run for re-election, you throw some Willie P tees on. You got East Liberty.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that now.
Willie P will bag and tag him.
Willie P bagging and tagging.
This is my new campaign.
I see the wheels churning.
When I was like in first grade, I was calling myself Willie because of Willie Stargell. I think that was the last time that had ever been called since 1971.
Hey, that's about that. I think it's time for a comeback.
There you go.
I think it's time for a comeback.
Willie P. bagging and tagging.
Bagging and
There we go. We got it. Isolate that. Isolate that. You remember that.
Okay.
So is that going to be, you're going to make like a little poster for this podcast?
We'll put some graphics
It'll be
up.
Willie P.
Hey,
bagging and
if
tagging.
we can make it, yes, Willie P. bagging and tagging, that would be dope.
We'll send it. We'll get it approved.
Yeah, we'll send it to the office or whatever. We don't want the men in black showing up at a door like, hey, you know.
Yeah, I've seen House of Cards. I know what your type can do. I know I could disappear at any given moment.
Yeah, you hold an office where a dude got out of jail to get. So I mean, you got some things. Before we go, shout out to Full Pint. That's what we've been drinking today. Full Pint Brewing. They're out in Norfolk Side, if you're fancy. Norfolk Sales, if you're from Pittsburgh. The Chinook IPA is delicious. Go out and get that. And
Hey, we want to just, again, thank you for coming out, man. We really appreciate it. It was
enjoyed
a
it.
great conversation.
Really did enjoy it, guys.
If you're listening, you had a good time. I know you did. Dave's going to hit you with the rundown, and we're going to let this man actually work.
yeah,
and
place to
Keep
be.
doing what you're doing because you make Pittsburgh a better place to live. You make it more vibrant. You bring together a lot of people whose names you were mentioning that I know that also add into that mosaic that is this city. And that's what makes more people want to live here.
That's awesome. I'm
And
gonna
as
tell my mom
always, Willie
I'll
P.
write a note. I'll give you the note. It won't be for the bar. It'll be for your mom.
that. Appreciate it. I think
Bagging and
Mom,
tagging.
Mom.
That's
Mom.
what's up.
Stop,
Hit him
stop
with
talking
the
about that podcast. All right, we are Drinking Partners. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Libsyn under Drinking Partners. You can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. And you can find us on Facebook, IG, and Twitter at PartnersPod. Please hit the Amazon button, bookmark the page, and shop. If you got a little bit more money, hit the donate button, and please rate and review. We need those.
Come on, man. Do that. And as always, is the motto. Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family. We want to thank Mayor Bill Peduto again, or Willie P., whatever you want to call him. And we out of here.